We got one life, Matt. I couldn't think of anything worse of being told what to wear, to go to work, to be there at 9, to leave at 5. Get out of that job immediately.
Dodge Woodall
is a UK-based entrepreneur,
festival owner,
podcaster,
and sports promoter known for creating the Bournemouth Sevens Festival.
You have to be obsessed with what your business is.
Why?
Because you've got to get up every day and work on it. I'm running 3 businesses at the moment, so I've never experienced burnout. I call it the 1,000 days rule. If you can break even after 1,000 days, you are doing unbelievably well. You could have the best products in the world, you could have the best service in the world, but as an entrepreneur, if you're not good at marketing and sales, you're going to really struggle.
What advice would you give on promoting?
Make sure they create a personal brand.
People struggle with that though.
Why would they?
Because they feel fear of judgment, imposter syndrome.
Everyone's judging.
How would you get them to overcome that?
Every single person is judging, that realise.
On one hand, you've got nightclubs, closing down, pubs closing down, restaurants closing down. Do you think it's going to go the other way?
I think so. I promise you now, if you were partying in the 90s, you couldn't beat that. You couldn't. People want that. That's what the British culture is. You can only be successful as an entrepreneur if you've got a partner that supports you. End of.
Does that mean I'm single?
Police raids, tear-ups, dusters. I don't know what type of podcast this is, but it goes on and on.
We can go there, wherever it is.
It goes on and on. And
what was some of the worst stuff?
Oh my God, lots of.
Dodge, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Do you want headphones on, by the way?
No, I'm all right.
You're right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we don't need to be any louder. I'll just do with this, yeah. No, thank you. I'm really grateful for you hosting in your podcast studio. You were just saying there before we started, good questions get good answers. Great questions get great answers. What's a great question?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I'll leave that to you. It's nice It's nice to be on the other side for once.
Yeah.
So looking forward to this one.
What's your thought process when you're interviewing somebody? What to you makes a great interview?
Let the guest speak, and as a podcast host, listen intensely and don't take your eyes off the guest. And the way I podcast and host is that I don't have any notes. I freestyle everything.
Yeah.
I don't like to know too much about the guest. Freestyle the whole thing and just have a quality chat.
Yeah.
I see a lot of big podcasters out there with their laptops up, and if I've got eye contact with you now, if I'm a host, and then I'm looking down to look at the next question, you're losing that intense conversation, so that's just my style.
Right, pressure's on. I won't look anywhere. I love it though, because obviously you've had a lot of success with your show, Eventful Lives, and I kind of agree that I think when you're just genuinely curious and interested in the other person, that's where the best conversations happen. Let's go back to a little bit of your background for those who don't know. I believe that you spent your childhood living in a pub.
I sure did.
How was that?
Loved it. Loved every minute of it. It's a very different upbringing being brought up in a pub in London, in a 2-bed flat, nightclub next door, 2-floored pub. It was the feeder pub on the River Thames, so the nightclub next door. It was amazing, but very different. Would I bring my kid up now? I've got an 11-year-old boy and a boozer. No, I wouldn't. But in the 80s and 90s, growing up as a 4-year-old all the way up to the age of 18, you're surrounded by adults, you're surrounded by entrepreneurs. There wasn't entrepreneurs back then, but it's people wheeling and dealing, earning money. You're surrounded by doormen, you're surrounded by a lot of people on the booze, a lot of people. There's nothing you couldn't get your hands on. It was just a very different upbringing. I loved every minute of it because it made you super curious. It made you super aware. It made you read a room. It made you read people's mannerisms. It made you understand people. And I guess the age I'm at now is everything that I've done is about people. It's all I've done in my life is bringing people together and putting smiles on people's faces. And that started as a kid, all the way to what I've up to what I've done today.
Did you feel different?
I didn't know any difference, but I was living a double life, I guess, because my old man is a proper working, hard-working man from East London. My mum was a hard-working woman from Manchester. They met in the casino world in Mayfair as croupiers. Then they got into the pub world. And then they got into the pub world, everything was cash. You know, there was lots of toxicity going on. There was lots of police raids. I saw a lot of naughtiness going on. There was a lot of faces who were around, and lots of great people as well. I didn't feel different. Did I feel different? I knew I had something different in me, 100%. I went to private school. Mum and Dad were very lucky. I got a sports scholarship to a private school to get me. They wanted me to have they thought a better education. They weren't educated people. They left school very young. With no one in my family were educated, but they all know how to earn a pound note. They were all good with people. They were all had lots of friends. They had lots of laughter. They were good business people, you know. Did I feel different? Maybe the double life, going to a private school where there was more discipline there when you had to be there at certain times. I found it very hard to learn at school because I was always wanting to play sport or earn a pound note even at a young age.
Is that just because that's what you saw around you?
Well, of course, you are your parents.
Right.
Whether you like it or not, you are your parents. And I'll tell you what, I would pick my old man every day of the week and my mum every day of the week if I had to pick my parents, you know. They gave me wonderful gifts as a kid that we didn't know then. You know, they weren't, like I said, they weren't, I wasn't sitting at home doing homework every night. I was in the pub till 11 o'clock. I was earning money. I was helping, I was just, yeah. So then we'd go to private school in the day. And then all the kids want to come back to the pub. But living that lifestyle when you're around that the whole time, I loved it. Fruit machines, people, hanging around the doorman taking you to the nightclub next door at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, bring you home at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because old man was a very well-respected man. The doorman respected him. So I was different. I was different, yeah.
But it's all you knew, right?
That's all I knew. I didn't know any different. And I just love sport. You know, I just love sport. I wanted to do a sport, but I didn't understand chemistry, physics, math. I didn't understand all the algebra and Bunsen burners and all the stuff that you're meant to be learning. So I was doing that at school, playing my sport, then coming home and earning money in the pub. You know, selling tickets to the nightclub next door and just earning money because that old man was a bodybuilder back in the day. And he would always walk around with grand cash in his pocket everywhere he went. He'd have the big baggy trousers, the Gold Gyms baggy trousers, and
so is he quite a respected?
He's well respected.
Yeah.
He's really humble, hard man, but very humble and kind, and people love him. But he's a tough man with discipline, you know.
So I think for some people they'll hear that and they'll think that sounds for a young child like quite a chaotic environment. Was it?
Yeah, it was, Matt. It was chaotic, but I didn't know that at the time. It's only as an adult now I had time to reflect and look back. What was my childhood like? Chaos, madness, but fun. Everything was around fun. Mum and Dad would be throwing fancy dress parties. We'd be the first ones to put doorman on the door back then. You know, we lived in a lively town. All of South London would come to Dad's pub before the nightclub next door. 3 big nightclubs in the town, one holding 3,000 people, the other one 2,000 people. So it was lively, but it was chaotic. Yeah. You got to remember, your mum and dad are grafting at 7 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night and trying to have a relationship. And you know, the chaos. Not only was you lived, my bedroom wall was between my bedroom and the wall next door of the nightclub. Every night was banging music. Come on, Eileen. Wow. Everyone stamping their feet. So my sleep patterns were all over the place. Plus upstairs we had 2 Alsatians and a Doberman as guard dogs. We had budgie regards. We had flying around. We had a cockatoo that spoke. Oh we're all West Ham fans, so we're all squawkers. I'm forever blowing bubbles. I'm forever blowing bubbles. And that's what Dad taught the cockatoo. And we also had a pet monkey. So it was
just standard, right?
A very, very, very different upbringing to anyone that I've ever come across in my life. But it was the norm for us.
What was the downside to that?
The downside to that lifestyle, I guess, as a dad now who lives in the countryside with just fields all around me and peace. And that's all I ever wanted as a kid was peace and quiet.
Because it's what you didn't have, right?
Yeah, we got a nightclub, you got people downstairs, you got your dad going downstairs knocking people out and throwing people out because they were causing... And I was there watching it all. I was seeing stuff that, you know, kids shouldn't see from a young age.
Like what?
Well, it was police raids, tear-ups, dusters. You know, I don't know what type of podcast this is, but it goes on. It goes on and on.
We can go there wherever it is.
It goes on and on. And
what was some of the worst stuff?
oh my God, there was lots of stuff I saw. You know, when you're hanging around the doors as the publican son, watching doormen fighting and watching your dad throwing people out of the pub, watching what the repercussions, what could happen, or things. And remember, there's a nightclub next door, so people were spilling out the nightclub, and you're seeing everything, and it went on and on. But yeah, sport was the one for me that was sport and earning money were my two things, sport and business. And you know, at a young age of 10 years old, selling tickets to the nightclub next door, to Dad's pub, it was a feeder pub. Go to the nightclub next door, get 20 tickets for £1, sell them to everyone who between 10 and 11 o'clock. 20 of them, they get queue jumped to the club next door for £2. I keep £1, the manager keeps £1. Everyone's a winner. You know, I was taught very young, always create win-win situations for mum and dad. I was always taught very young, pound a man, make sure you earn £1 a man. You know, I was always taught very young, you believe in yourself, you can do anything you want. You know, these are the gifts they gave me. You know, the entrepreneur mindset, that growth mindset. And these are all the stuff that we didn't know back then, growth mindset, entrepreneur mindset. You know, the entrepreneur back then we knew as, you know, Del Boy of Only Fools and Horses, or Arthur Daly, and then it went into Richard Branson, and Richard Branson then went into everyone we know these days. But in the 80s and 90s, there was no role model entrepreneur.
It wasn't
even
cool,
a name.
was it?
No, it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't cool, but I was just around a lot of people earning a lot of money, and that inspired me to start earning money. I'm like, wow, this is an amazing buzz, but only doing it when you're creating win-win situations. And
Right.
I loved it. Going back, it was chaos, but all I ever wanted was quiet. When I used to go to my friends' houses, mum and dad were cooking together. They'd all eat dinner together. We never ate dinner together. This isn't a problem. I'm not saying it's a problem to it, but I'm just letting you know that, you know, they were doing shifts, and you know, and yeah, it was madness.
I've heard you speak about the phrase aggressively patient.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Aggressively patient is two words that I use all the time.
Okay.
And that comes with experience of building the businesses that I've built over the years. And being aggressively patient is making sure that you're aggressive in business in terms of wanting to get things done, but you've got to be patient because things take a bloody long time.
Right.
You know, they're two words that I stand by. So I know if I'm going into a business and launching a business, I know I'm going to have 1,000 days of chaos. People don't talk about this in entrepreneurship. I know it's going to be 3 years of madness, working it all out. If I walk into a business that I don't know, which I'm launching from nothing, I know it's going to be 1,000 days of madness, but I love it. I love the chaos. I know what I'm about to go through. Even as an experienced entrepreneur now, like 40 years on, 3-4 decades in the game of just building businesses, my own businesses with my own money, no loans from banks, no VC money, no angel money, just built from a young kid from 10 years old to where I am today.
Wow.
You know, so aggressively patient is when you're launching a business, you can launch a business and you got a great idea. Who'd you go to? Your tight mates, your mum and dad, your brother, your uncle. Guys, what do you think? Everyone says, yeah, great idea, go for it. So most people go for it, and then they realise that they get into a stage when it's like, shit, this is serious now. I've got the logo, I've got the website, I've got the social media these days, social media handles, I've got that, what's the business model look like? And then they're into a stage where I call it the lonely chapter. And the lonely chapter for me is where the chaos is, and that's the bit I love.
Why?
Because you don't know what's around the corner, you don't know what's coming. You're doing your homework 24/7, you're researching, you're finding out other companies, you're finding out the business you're about to launch, how many companies are out there. You're picking up the phones, asking them questions under different names to get information about that company. You're finding out their customer service, is it any good? You're sending them an email, or you're sending them something, some sort of communication, or your team are, to see if they respond quickly. You're building up a picture that you know, you're not reinventing the wheel here, but you know if you can improve on all the stuff that they're not good at, you know you've got a better chance to succeed than they have.
So it's that buzz, and it comes back to the curiosity you spoke about there. You're finding stuff out, you don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
But interestingly, you said as a kid you had so much chaos, you craved peace.
Yeah, I did.
So where are you at now? Do you still...
I'm at peace. No, I'm at peace.
Within the chaos?
No, this is different.
Okay.
Chaos, living in a pub,
Yeah.
with 1,000 people on 2 floors with DJs, music, doormen, tear-ups, police raids, everything else going on in the pub all day and all night. Obviously, night
That's
time.
like uncontrolled chaos,
Uncontrolled,
right?
and you're upstairs in a flat upstairs where you feel the energy coming up. Like if something just happened with mum and dad, they're bringing the energy up into a very small 2-bed flat with lots of animals as well. You know, so it's that's a different chaos. That's a different feeling than launching and starting a business. The chaos.
Do you think a lot of people don't appreciate that business often is being comfortable in the chaos, and it is usually 3 to 5 years before you're going to start, you know, getting those results? Do you think that's an important thing to make people aware of?
It's something when I mentor entrepreneurs, I let them know. Are you obsessed with your business? Do you really like the business that you are about to launch or are launching? Do you feel that you'll get bored doing this business? Do you feel that, because if you do, you'll get burnout quicker than most people.
Right.
I get up every day and I love what I do, and I've always loved what I've done, whether it's throwing parties in clubs, festivals, media world, podcasting, whatever I've done in the 3 decades plus. So I've never experienced burnout.
Right.
I've never
Ever?
No.
Have
no.
you ever struggled mentally?
No, I haven't.
Wow,
No, I haven't.
which is quite unique when you hear, you know, in this space of building businesses. You hear quite often a lot of people talk about really tough years.
I'm sure.
Burnout, mental
Listen,
health
there's
problems.
tough years. Don't get me wrong. Business is not easy. When you're launching a festival and you've gambled your family house on it, you know, that's serious pressure. But when you're brought up in the surroundings of nothing's going to get in my way, everything out of my way, watch this space, I'm hyper focused on doing this, and this is what I'm doing, and you maybe brought up in a tough environment has helped my entrepreneurship over the last 3 decades for sure. Because never had a job in my life, so I don't know what it's like to have a job.
Yeah,
and I
same.
don't know what it's like to leave a job to go and become an entrepreneur. All I've done is be an entrepreneur.
Right.
So
Which is unique.
it's very unique. I'm actually in the middle of writing a book at the moment about it. So I feel like I've got a lot to give
Yeah.
to a lot of people, real entrepreneurship. You know, the book's going to be called The Straight Talking Founder. And I feel like I've got a lot to give of real life business and creating lifestyle businesses. That's something I'm very passionate about, is creating lifestyle businesses. But going back to your original one there, that 3 years, I call it the 1,000 days rule. If you can break even after 1,000 days, you are doing unbelievably well. Most people get bored, get burnt out,
Yeah.
lose a load of money, realise their business model doesn't work, and then they fold it.
And it's that shiny penny syndrome as well. I find with a lot of people, and I've been guilty of it myself in the past, they keep going, well, it's not, you know, 6 months in, 8 months in, it's not bringing the return, maybe it's the wrong thing, so then they start something else. What I've found a lot of the time, and I think you're right about, you've got to be really passionate about it, you've got to love it, but I actually think when it comes to a business model and a strategy, most of them will get results if at the heart of it, it's a good product or service, but it takes time, like what you're referring to. And I think a lot of people, they just don't see it through for long enough, and they think it's that the product's wrong, the service is wrong, or they're not good enough. Actually, they're just early on in that process, and it takes long. I think we've probably been brought up with, you know, like my generation, a lot of seeing like the X Factor on TV, where it's seemingly overnight you can change your whole life.
Yeah.
And as we know, that's very, very rare. You also used the word obsessed.
Yeah.
Do you think that is a non-negotiable? You must be
Yes.
obsessed.
For me and my businesses and my journey, 100% have to be obsessed with what your business is.
Why?
Because you've got to get up every day and work on it. I spring out of bed, can't wait to get working on what I'm working on.
Yeah.
I'm running 3 businesses at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, I get super excited by it because it's something that I've created out of nothing. You know, so I know I have to make it work. You know, I've got many staff they've got mortgages, they've got kids. You know, I've got responsibilities.
Do you see that as like a positive pressure, like fuel?
Yeah, I love it. I love being obsessed. I love being relentless. I'm relentless. I don't watch telly. You know, I you know, someone said to me, when do you switch off? I was like, when I switch off? When I go to sleep?
Yeah.
Switch off? Where else you switch off? When I'm having a long lunch with my mates, a boozy lunch or nice lovely food with couples and and I can switch off.
Right.
But first thing I wake up in the morning, I'm bang on it. Before I go to bed, I'm bang on it. At night time, I don't watch telly. I'm either opening doors with people, having conversations with people, bouncing ideas, locking things in. So it's kind of like, I work weird hours. You know, I wake up in the morning, I do a 3-hour sesh while in bed, on the phone, dealing with people, opening doors, creating things, getting people in the diary, locking in meetings, etc., or whatever it may be. And then I have sort of 9 to midday to myself.
Okay.
Gym, sauna, train, feel good. And then I come in, make sure everyone's good, bounce ideas, might do a couple of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And then at night time, I'm bang on it again, having fun with the family. And then once that happens, I'm just bang on the phone and creating and speeding business up and being urgent.
What's your response to people that say that doesn't sound healthy, you know, working most days? People that say about you need work-life balance?
Work-life balance, I've got a very, very good work-life balance. I spend a lot of time on holiday.
Did you always?
Yep.
So you've always managed
Always
to find
had a
that
lot of holidays. I'm not into fast cars,
Yeah.
not into Lamborghinis, I'm not into watches, and I could have all of that if I wanted to. For me, happiness is where I spend money on is holidays 9 or 10 times a year.
So what's your advice? Let's say somebody's listening now and they're like, okay, so you've never really had a job, but they have got a job at the moment.
Yes.
And they are hating the job. They're starting a business. They're considering it maybe a bit of a side hustle at this stage. And they're finding it tough. Maybe they've got a couple of young kids. What's your advice when they hear you say you've got to be obsessed and give it everything and they feel like they actually can't? What would you say to them to help them move forward?
All depends how hungry they are to get out of their job they don't enjoy.
Right.
If they're in a job that you do not enjoy, I couldn't think of anything worse of being told what to wear, to go to work, to be there at 9, to leave at 5, and if at 5 o'clock you're looking around going, I should leave here because I might get paid extra, and then you're worried to leave the office in case people go, oh, you only left at 5:05, and people are judging you. Get out of that job immediately. We got one life, Matt, and if that's 4,000 weeks. That's an average of 29,000 days. The average person. If you break down at you're 38, you're halfway through your life, not 50. People think 50 is halfway through your life. 38 is halfway through your life. You know, so you know, and also people, you got to remember that. Can I speak on my behalf and my experience?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the day of the week it is, whether it's a Monday, a Friday, a Sunday, a Saturday, a Tuesday. Every day's the same for me. It doesn't matter. So my wife's like, why are you calling a lawyer up at Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon? I was like, no, it doesn't matter. Let's get cracking. Let's start building. Why are you chatting to people on a Sunday? It doesn't matter what day of the week. Do you know what I mean?
You actually just said before this podcast you thought it was Wednesday and it's actually Tuesday.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I'm on this planet for a certain amount of days and we don't know what's around the corner. I just want to make sure I'm enjoying myself every day and making sure I'm putting smiles on thousands of people's faces, whether they're coming to our festivals, whether they're listening to my podcast, you know, so that's the buzz that I get.
Do you think a lot about how short life is?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Do you think that's quite integral to the way you think,
Yeah.
that urgency?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to remember, right, going back to your question, because it's important we answer that. People in a job they don't enjoy, number one, get out. If you're going to work and you do not like your boss, he's obnoxious to you, he's rude, the person to your left you'll never go over the pint for, the person to your right you're thinking, my God, they're boring, what am I doing in this job? Get out. You got one life. If you are thinking of creating a business, which a high percentage of people started to create a business in 2020 due to the pandemic, and a high percentage have left their entrepreneur role and going back to a 9 to 5 because they've realised they can't make money out of this. If you're on a job at the moment, you've got 104 days to yourself. They're your weekends. You've also probably got 20 days off through your business. There's 124 days there. If you're really serious about it, and you are serious about it, your 5 to 9 is really important in the morning.
Yeah.
If you wanted that.
Yeah.
Your 5 till 9 in the evening is really important. If you really want to be obsessed and earn enough money that you can get out of the job you don't like and create your own future to have freedom, just have a think. I've got friends who are good mates of mine, rugby boys, who have finished in their mid-40s, still boozing like they were when we were in our 20s, finishing a match, and going out dropping a couple of £100 and having a curry and pizza, and they complain saying they ain't got enough time to go to the gym. I'm like, mate, enough time. You can go and do a 40-minute session, in, out, bang, done. You know, so if you really want something, you can have it. Like, but you've got to be super hungry. There's a lot of people who want to go home and just flick on Netflix. Good, that's okay too. If you just want to switch off and just watch Netflix or waste time flicking on your phone, that's okay too. Everyone, in my opinion, each their own, you know. But if I was really hungry to get out of a job, I know what I would do.
What if they're worried about their health because they're going, I'm doing the 5 till 9, then I'm doing the job, then I'm doing the evenings, I'm sleeping 5 hours a night.
Who's
I'm working
sleeping 5 hours?
And let's say they're working weekends.
Oh, what? If they
As
want
in
to be an
they're hungry
entrepreneur,
for that change.
they're hungry for that, yeah.
But they're concerned that relentless work ethic, while still in a job, is too much.
That's their choice, man. They don't have to do 5 to 9. I'm not saying everyone to do that, but I'm saying the options are there. Your options are, when you finish work, you've had enough of work. I need to work on my own thing. I want to create my own future. I want to be my own boss. I want to have freedom. But you also got to remember, having a job is security. Not so much these days, because I'm seeing the unemployment rate jump up massively, but there's more security in being in a job than there is risking trying to create your own business. Because entrepreneurship, for me, is an extreme sport. It really is. It is my sport. It's an extreme sport. But people don't talk about it. They just see as entrepreneurship what you see on Instagram, where everything's fluffy and everything's nice, and there's lots of fake out there, and AI's coming in. There's going to be more fake, and there's going to be more fake. Like, it's like for me, there's like an honest recession on at the moment. Like, where's the honesty? Where's the real? And that's why I'm launching our new podcast called The Straight Talking Founder, where I'm just going to talk to camera and just go, cards on the table, 15, 20 minutes.
Solo show.
Bingeable, yeah. Well, normally I've done 350 episodes now interviewing people who've lived eventful lives. I feel like someone out there has just got to be real and just go, bang, this is how it is in business.
Yeah.
These are the tough times you're going to have. These are the sleepless nights you're going to have. This is the lovely bit when you break through the lonely chapter in your first 1,000 days. You're looking left at your start. All your mates and family are going, good luck, good luck, good luck. After about 6 months, some of your mates are looking in with envy, going, I hope he doesn't be successful. And then you're looking around, you can sense that. And then you look right, and you're not big enough to be hanging around with the entrepreneurs in that sort of successful entrepreneur area. You're still building, so they're looking down at you. And you're in this whole lonely chapter, and it's just, you're lost. You know, and I've seen many people do that. But once you break through, wow, I promise you, once you have all these breakthroughs, you know in business when each day you go in, you've got another breakthrough, and you put it on the WhatsApp group, God, I've just had another breakthrough, I've just met this person. Oh, I listened to this thing on YouTube, I've got another breakthrough. That's when you know you got the buzz. And that for me is when I know I'm really onto something, when breakthroughs happen 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
But to get to that breakthrough stage, you've got to put in a shift. You've got to put in the graft. There's no two ways about it. There's no, this work-life balance, can I swear on here or not? Yeah. This work-life balance bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no work-life balance when you're building a business. When you've made it, then we can talk about work-life balance. I've got beautiful work-life balance. But I tell you now, I can talk about the 5 businesses that we've built and the 2 that we sold over the last 27, 28 years. There have been so many times when there's no work-life balance in there because I had to make it work. Because if I don't make it work, I'm losing my house. If I don't make it work, I've got no money coming in. If I don't make it work, you know, and that's when the obsession comes in, and that's when the relentlessness comes in. Now, for the last 10, 11 years, I've got beautiful work-life balance.
Nice.
But there's lots of people out there who are in my position who talk about like they've had work-life balance all their life. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I agree.
No one has. Only people who have made it and got it can talk about or talk to other entrepreneurs. Make sure you got work-life balance, people. But don't burn yourself out. Mate, if you want to be a success, you've got to be obsessed and you've got to put in the hard yards. It's the same as being a professional rugby player, same as being a professional whatever you are in. If you want to be the top of your game and you want to be in the 1% of the 1%, and you want to have these breakthroughs and then pop and have a successful business that is sellable one day, you're going to be putting in a minimum 5 years. In that period, you may have gone bust. High percentage of businesses do go bust. Only 3% of businesses make it to £1 million turnover. You know, out there, people are talking about, oh yeah, in 30 days you can earn 100 grand, and I see all this stuff. I'm like, are people really believing this? Yeah. And that's why I'm creating Straight Talking Founder, because I need to call. I'm not going to call people out individually, but I need to.
Industry, I guess, of like the online coaching needs.
I just need to. I'm finding myself getting niggled at the moment when I'm hearing and seeing people who will call themselves business coaches and they're 23 years old, and I'm thinking, my God, you know, because they're good at marketing. You know,
it is
and going back to your point, maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, you mentioned about you can have a good product and a good service, and you should be successful. No, you could have the best product in the world, and you could have the best service in the world. But as an entrepreneur, if you're not good at marketing and sales, you're going to really struggle.
Right.
Really struggle. If you're good at sales as an entrepreneur, you're halfway there.
Yeah.
If you're good at marketing as well, you are getting closer to your goal very quickly. You know, and you've got a good product and a good service that can be tweaked. Yeah. It can be tweaked along the way to make it better and better, and you can improve your brand.
Right.
You know, but if you're going into entrepreneurship with just a great idea, but you hate sales, and you're not very good at promoting yourself or promoting your brand, I think you're going to find it difficult.
I love it. I've literally been grinning with that, because I feel like, so this is my 15th year in business, and I have learned a lot through doing it the wrong way, like just transparently, you know. And I think it's really been the last 8 to 10 months I've felt like big leaps forward now.
Yeah, mate.
And all that stuff you were speaking about those regular
breakthroughs,
daily break. And I was just grinning like, oh, I just feel in that zone.
Yeah.
I feel on the verge of, we're getting a lot more visibility, a lot more respect, a lot more seen, and then from that, there's more opportunities, and you can see more possibilities.
Yeah.
And I guess I was grinning because I was just like, I think of those years, and I think of some really shit years, like where you say you're risking stuff and failed relationships and things like that, and a lot of people told me to quit, and it's not worth it. It's not worth your health. It's not, and I'm so grateful that I didn't, because of what you said there about there is the other side to it. If you have got that staying power and that resilience and that ability to keep on going. Let's talk about marketing, promoting, visibility, because obviously that's been something you've been huge on with your success. You said there's no business without marketing, sales. What are some of the tips if there's an entrepreneur listening now and they've got a good product and service, they might be all right at sales, but they're just not getting out there enough, they're not known enough? What advice would you give on promoting?
I would make sure they create a personal brand.
Yeah.
And I'm new to this, by the way.
Right, okay.
So I'm not sitting here on some sort of like, oh yeah, I've been had a personal brand for 30 years. My personal brand, and the way I describe a personal brand, is how people speak about you when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
Now, I've had a personal brand in terms of building a lot of trust and respect over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And by paying people on time, by being good to people, by looking after people, by creating win-win situations, etc., etc. But as a personal brand goes, the last 5 years was when the pandemic hit, when my team was saying, Dodge, you need to go on Instagram and have a personal brand. I was like, no, I'm happy to be the front man of the company, but behind the company. Bournemouth Sevens Festival is the festival for the last 18 years, or the other stuff we've done, But as soon as I create a personal brand, my God, things just happen. Things just happen. Doors open. People can get you on DMs. You're on LinkedIn. You're on TikTok. You're on Instagram. You're on Facebook. People have got access to you. People can go back and see your Instagram, see what type of character you are. People can see that you reply to people and make sure that you reply to people and like their comment. Over the years, the amount of people that I reply to who write nice messages, who I reply to, go out of my way, really appreciate a message. Thanks for your kind words. Good luck to you. Is there anything I can do to help you? Let me know. All of that hard yards and hard graft over the years, that person tells his group of mates, 20 people, those 20 people go, have you seen that Dodge? He helps people. Just go, vroom, vroom, vroom. And we live in a very small country. People think 70 million people, 68 million people is big. I don't believe it is. The sports world in the UK is very small. The music world in the UK is very small. The business world in the UK is very small, in my opinion. LinkedIn is very small. You can do a really good post on LinkedIn, and anyone who's meant to know on LinkedIn will have seen it somewhere. Different platforms are different things. I love LinkedIn, by the way, and it's been a great tool. for big sponsors, been a great tool for people opening doors, for people inviting you onto stuff, people wanting to pay you to do stuff. And then you've got Instagram, which is another great tool, which is kind of your shop window, that people can go back and kind of see what you're doing, what you've done, because it's all there. Facebook's a wonderful tool. People don't speak highly of Facebook, but it's a wonderful tool again.
I believe it's still the most used social media platform.
Well, if you think you're over 30s, 35s or whatever, all of those lot are still using it. Like, you know, at one point it was seen unfashionable to use Facebook because Instagram come on the scene. Obviously, they're the same owners, as is WhatsApp as well. So, yeah, if I was a business owner, I would just create a personal brand and just be you.
Is that? Would you say that's the main thing? That I think when people start personal brands, they feel like they've got to put on a voice or a front or just show the professional side. Do you think it's really key to almost show almost the full 360, just be an authentic, real person?
I can only go on what I've done.
Right.
I can only comment what I've done. I've just been me.
Yeah.
What you see now is what you get when I'm out the room, when I'm at a business meeting, I'm at a sports do, watching West Ham or watching Twickenham. What you see now is exactly the same. Nothing changes. I don't have to put on any front. And boy, it's just so much easier. When I see
people struggle with that though.
Why would they?
They because they feel fear of judgment, imposter syndrome.
Everyone's
all those
judging.
things. How do you get them to overcome that?
Every single person is judging without realise.
Yeah.
Every person. You walk in today, you go, oh yeah, what's he got on his feet? He's got nitro. Okay, what's he wearing his top? Okay, that's a bit. What's his hair like? People without even realise, everyone's judging. But it's about being very, very aware of your subconscious mind. And as soon as you become aware of your subconscious mind, that little man on your shoulder that's constantly talking to you 50,000 times a day, you become very aware not to judge. And as a young kid, I've always been aware not to judge people. Don't judge a book by its cover, because I've met hundreds of thousands of people and spoken to hundreds of thousands of people. I have, literally, on the streets when flyering, when I had the nightclubs. You know, people think you're just a flyer out there, but you're taking all the door money. They don't realise you're taking 3, 4, 5, 6 grand on the door with one club, and I had 12 clubs at the top. Like, you know, you're chatting to people on the street, you're going, where are you going now? I'm going to that nightclub. In my 20s this was. How about 8 of you? Come about, stamp, bam, 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 bam. Come to our nightclub, I'll get you queue jump. There's a queue of 1,000 people there, jump in the queue, they feel special. You're creating win-win situations, you're making people feel good about themselves, you're creating a great experience. You know, this is all learned. You know, I started learning my trade as a 10-year-old, remember? And all it's done is just built up and built up, built up now in my 40s. You know, it's the same principles.
It almost makes me think about the premise of this show being called Success School is based on the idea that traditional education, I feel, lets us down. It doesn't really focus on the most important things, which is people skills, which is life skills, which is making money and health and fitness, all these kind of things. And your story is almost like a fantastic example of that, in that, as you said, you was quite different with your upbringing, but what you were getting, from what I hear, in buckets full is life experience, people, making people happy, making sure you've got a fair win-win scenario. All those things, I feel, are almost testament to why you've had the success you've had, right?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So personal branding, getting out there on camera, being themselves. Any tips in particular about what social media platforms? You know, I know YouTube's a big one for you. Podcasting. What would you say is, I guess, the best ROI when it comes to personal branding?
I like LinkedIn. Because I feel that there's less fake on there.
Right.
There still is. I can still spot. I still spot on a mile off who's copied and pasted AI and whacked an AI replies and those type of things. And you can still spot things, but you know, I think Instagram's the one that is the biggest fake platform out there, and you can still spot as well. But the people who know.
Yeah.
The people that don't know, and I think the people trying to be someone who they're not, they can fool the people that don't really matter, but they can't fool the people that matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, okay. YouTube's a great platform. I love YouTube because people can leave live comments. Bang, 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 bang. And it allows you to reply and allows you to like and build up a community there.
It's also long form, right? So they're spending more time
content.
with you. Yeah.
So my content is, you know, like anywhere from an hour and 10 to 2 hours content. Long form content. You know, short form content, you get millions of views, but it's just another flick.
Yes, yeah.
Another flick, and that people have flicked 70 times in 2 hours. It's like it's gone. But when you're sitting down watching a conversation like this, nothing can be hidden here. Nothing gets edited. Whatever's said, and it goes up in long form. That is what people are craving right now, connection. We want community, we want connection, we want real. And I think since social media has really gone crazy the last few years, I think people are going full circle, going, I've had enough of all this now. Even the people who weren't super clued up of clocking certain things are just going, you know what, I've had enough. I've had enough of watching that. I'm going to unfollow all those people. I've had enough. Yeah. You know, and I think, but the scary thing again is this thing that's just come about massively in the everyday person's life in the last sort of 3 to 6 months. It's AI. And AI's got its place, but boy, AI can fake as much as anything. Right. On steroids.
What's your thoughts on that? Because I believe that's therefore going to make human connection in person more valuable than ever.
100%.
And that's what I'm doubling down on.
100%. And I've been all about human connection since a kid.
That's been your whole business.
Yeah.
Every business.
You become streetwise very quickly. You realise that people love being around good people. And I've just created good parties and good fun and good festivals and good podcasts, bringing people together and making people feel comfortable and happy. And I think with the speeding up of AI, it's got great attributes to AI. We've got to home in more on connection, on people. You know, when you see it at the moment now, when I see pubs closing down one a day, that's not just a pub closing down. You know, people go to the pub. If you're lonely, you go and have 2 or 3 pints. If you're lonely, you have a chat about the football on the weekend. You know,
it's where we connect.
Bingo halls all closed down. Yeah. That's where all the old girls, my nan and everyone used to go to the bingo halls to be around friends and have a chat what they had for dinner last night and create that communication. They're all closed down. Banks, they're all closed down. So the old girls and the old boys would go there and have a chat with the customer service, and that's their day out.
Right. Yeah.
You know, restaurants, entrepreneurs, and you know, people creating restaurants are closing down because they can't make ends meet because the costs have gone too high. The customers aren't coming in because the prices on the list have gone up too high, and then it's not the restaurateur trying to take the mickey out of people by the prices being now 19 or 20 quid a dish. It's just to make ends meet. They've got to charge that, but people don't have the money in their pockets to pay that. So it's this horrible. What's happening at the moment in the amount of towns and cities around the UK, and I've been to quite a fair few of them around the UK. I'm seeing a lot of towns and cities being boarded up. Yeah,
and it's rapid, isn't it? The change and the rate of change.
Let's go into this. It's scary. I've got to say, because what's happening is people are becoming more reclusive, staying at home, being locked and addicted to their phones, and it doesn't matter what you consume. If you consume sugar and bad food, and into your eating habits, you're going to get bigger and unhealthy. If you consume stuff that you're watching, that the algorithm's picked up, that you might have liked something, and you're now consuming it into your mind, that's changing your thought process. That might be making you negative. That might be making you feel frustrated. That might be making you feel that you're not good enough. Might be making you feel that everyone around you is succeeding because people are out there putting stuff online, creating their best show reel. You know, and what
lying
this is,
a bit as
and
well.
Lying and telling porkies on there. So I'm looking in, and I stay in my bubble. I stay in my lane because I can see what's happening, and I'm making sure that whatever we do, we're doing it and just staying in our lane and in our bubble. And I try not, and I don't watch the news and I don't watch TV to have anything to affect my mind. If anyone's going to tell me something big's happening, my wife will tell me, or my mates will tell me on WhatsApp or whatever, you know.
The important stuff
The important stuff. I find that stuff that I go searching for, that I know is good for my mind, I go searching for. But apart from that, I don't want stuff bringing any pessimism into my mind.
This episode is sponsored by Dr. Tania King-Mohammad. She is the high ticket woman, the #1 best-selling author of the high ticket method, and one of the most sought after high ticket experts in the game. Basically, if you are an entrepreneur who is serious about scaling their business, you need to grab a copy of her book right now. Literally, I have read it and it is a game changer. It will blow your flipping mind. Tania is the mentor that the entrepreneurs call once they are finished playing small and are ready to start charging their worth. Working with Tania is all about creating consistent high-ticket sales and doing it in a way where you can create a freedom-level income without the constant hustle and grind like a lot of the other mentors bang on about. If you're listening to this show, you already know you're somebody that's meant for more and is willing to go and work for it. So basically, you need to get into Tania's world. Go and grab a copy of her book right now on Amazon and make sure you give her a cheeky little follow on Instagram. She is at Freedom with Tania and she's consistently giving strategies, tips and advice over there for free so you can start charging your worth and actually starting to believe in it. I know we've not covered much on the businesses that you've had, i.e. the festival and the nightclubs and the various successes you've had, but a lot of it is in-person experiences. And then you talk about sort of 2020, you then thought, right, personal brand, I need to go online. And what we were just discussing there about AI and how that's going to affect things. I'm kind of interested in, on one hand, you've got nightclubs, closing down, pubs closing down, restaurants closing down. But then to our point, what we've just said there, we feel therefore with AI, I don't know, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's going to go the other way? Do you think we'll go back to people valuing in person again and therefore we'll see the swing of the pendulum?
I think so.
Do you think soon?
I think so. But it's only my opinion.
Okay.
It's only my opinion. I think people want real, people want to have experiences. People want to go to places, to have a dance, to laugh, to take the mickey. Do you know, people want that. That's what the British culture is. And that's been taken away. I think people are fighting back now, going, do you know what? And what you're seeing is, very interesting, the over 40s now are partying more than any over 40s have ever done. They're back.
I've just been to Ibiza.
They're going back to day raves. It's full of Ibiza, exactly. The Clockwork Orange I went out to. I go to Ibiza every year, but Clockwork Orange is over 35, 40, 45, 50. People are still having it.
And people are looking younger than ever.
Yeah.
People are more vibrant, more energised than ever.
Yeah. That buzz when you walk into a venue, an open air beach bar, club, people are dancing and people have just got smiles on their faces and having a laugh and forgetting all the stresses of what's happening in the world and what's happening in the UK and what's happening around them. For those moments, like they're priceless. But we were all so used to them growing up from 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, clubs, bars, clubs. It's only when we now look back and go, God, they were the best times in the 90s or 2000s, or do you know what I mean? They were the best times, but...
Do you think they actually were? Because
yes,
that's traditionally what old people always say. It's not like that in my day.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I never wanted to be one of those people. God, back in my day, it was much better. But I promise you now, anyone listening, if you were partying in the 90s, you couldn't have beat that. You couldn't. There was no red tape. There was no this, that. People would just be free. People would go to festivals and be free. You'd be in a nightclub. You would make mistakes. No one's making mistakes
Nobody's
anymore.
taking a picture.
Yeah, well, lucky. On that note, I'm glad there was no photos and camera phones back in the day. But, it's when DJs were using vinyl and spinning tunes and actually mixing, rather than now they're going in with a stick, putting it in and pretending they're DJing.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. It's bonkers. There's now what I'm seeing on the dance floor. I've thrown 1,500 parties in clubs.
Wow.
Yeah, over that 10-year period. I've put on 18 festivals. I've sold over 1 million tickets to our own events. Incredible. So I know what it's like to throw a party. I know what it's like putting smiles on faces. I know what it's like when you create atmospheres and energy and the vibe in a 67-acre field or a 2,000 capacity nightclub. I know that feeling. And that feeling as a promoter you can't beat. And that feeling as a promoter of creating a win-win with those 2,000 or 30,000 people in a field are having fun and you're getting paid for it as well. That's like the perfect scenario. But definitely the 90s was a wonderful decade, and even coming into the early noughties as well. When the super clubs around the UK, where most towns or cities have 2 or 3 clubs there, and nightclubs aren't for everyone. Don't get me wrong, but the younger generation don't know how to make mistakes. If you're going,
and it's critical, right?
It's critical because it creates character.
Yeah.
Because you'll learn from it. Oh, God, I've learned from that. I'm not doing that again. Or your mates will tell you the next morning what you did. Like, oh, no, really? You're building up your character.
Yeah.
I see a lot of Gen Zs at the moment who I really like, by the way. Like, I really, really like Gen Zs. The 18, 24. I feel they're a very lost... I think they're very lost, but they've got talent that I've never seen before.
Right, because of social media.
Because of social media,
yeah.
because of video editing,
Yeah.
because of all the attributes they have, because of the area they got brought up in.
Right.
You got to remember, they were in lockdown, but maybe they might have been 16, 17, 18 years old, stuck in lockdown. They've come out of lockdown and they don't know what's going on. Is this the world it is? Everything closed down. And, you know, so I've got a lot of respect for them. Also, I've got a lot of respect for that age group because they can't get on the ladder like we used to. You know, we'd have to do 3 times our salary to get onto a property ladder. They've got to do 10 times our salary to get something average. No one's going to be doing that. They're going to be a long time waiting to get onto the property ladder.
It's interesting. I was having a conversation with some of my friends just recently, and I just kind of threw out that statement that, like, I've heard probably people say, which is, but we can all agree life is better today than 100 years ago. And both of them are older than me. Like, one's 10 years, one's nearly 20 years older. And both of them went, I don't agree. And the point they was making, it's you don't miss what you haven't got. And to your point about, like, the 90s, there wasn't nobody's going, I wish I had a mobile phone. And it raised a question in my mind, which is life getting worse and is society getting harder because we've tried to make it easier? You know, with Deliveroo and Uber Eats and all this stuff. We're not building we're not failing. Yeah. We're not building that character, those life skills. What do you think?
There's 2 ways to look at this. I think we've all got the lottery postcode, won the lottery postcode.
Right.
Firstly.
Yeah.
What I feel I have, only in my opinion, from my experience, is getting the lottery postcode. You're born in England, number 1. Number 2, you filter it down. You're from London. You filter it down, and you start filtering down. How lucky are we to have what we got? Nice running water, hot showers, heating in the house, like all the things that probably 70% of the whole of the globe doesn't have. So then we can all sit here and go, oh, poor us, business is hard, taxes have gone up, no one can make money these days, cash has been taken out of the system. I get all that.
Yeah, perspective.
But bring it into perspective, we've all got fairly decent clothes. We can all got transport. We've all can get a bite to eat when we want to get a bite to eat. We can all turn the heating on and watch a bit of Sky Sports if you want to. I'm not saying everyone.
Is it making us happier?
It all depends where you are in life, I guess.
Because I've heard, like, research about you'll find a kid in Africa or whatever, you know, I don't know how true it is or whatever, but their happiness levels are better when they have less.
I'm sure, but it comes down to being grateful. And if you are grateful, I say to my boy every morning, he's 11, really well grounded, good lad he is, he's clued up little boy, and my wife, give me 3 things you're grateful for today, and we all say it.
Nice.
Simple. You get up, like, I'm grateful. He has to say the word I am grateful for, and then say it, and then he has to repeat it.
Yeah, beautiful. Being intentional
it's a nice thing.
about it, yeah.
Dad, and he can have anything he wants, but he doesn't get spoilt, but he knows he's from a family that's done all right, and he can have the nice things in life, which are holidays and a comfy home, but he's not spoilt, you know. But he'll wake up in the morning, Alfie, what are you grateful for? 3 things. He'll say, I'm grateful because I had a lovely comfy sleep in my comfy bed, Dad.
Oh, nice.
I'm grateful because I'm lucky to go to a nice school today, Dad. Or, you know, those kind of things, you know. So he doesn't take for granted that a nice bit of food that's been prepared for his mum. And as a family, we're lucky to have a lot of green fields around us. And as a family, we sit down and enjoy our food together. And it's something that I never had as a kid. You know, so things that I didn't have, I tried to give to my boy. And yeah.
How do you feel about the idea of him becoming entrepreneurial?
100%. He's a little entrepreneur already.
Got it.
Mate, he hears me. It's funny, you know, you are your parents.
Yeah.
I was watching my dad operate as a kid for the grand, buying things, looking after people, buying He hears me on the phone cutting deals with big sponsors like Nintendo or Adidas or for the festival, or he hear me getting a guest on. Oh, really? You getting that footballer on as a guest? Oh, Dad, that's amazing.
Wow.
What reach has he got? He'll say, what reach has he got on social media? Or he'll say, what deal did you cut? Was it a 3-year deal with that sponsor, or was it a 1-year deal? What's the break clause? This is an 11-year-old kid, but he's learnt all this from just hearing conversations. And everything you speak about as a parent, your kids pick up. Whether you think they don't or not, they pick up on every single word. And listen, I've got traits that he picks up on where he hears words that probably shouldn't hear sometimes, you know, but in a nice way and stuff. But he's never, I can't speak highly enough of him. Not just because he's my boy, but my friends are like, God, he's lovely, he's clued up, he's well mannered, he's polite. You know, and again, I'll give him belief, and that was only given to me as a kid, giving him belief to be able to achieve the things he wants to. Give it a go, mate.
Yeah.
What are you scared of? What, people, someone judging you? Who cares? Go for it.
It's half the battle, that, isn't it? Is people just, they struggle with that belief. And I think if you can get it early,
Yeah.
that is huge for people. On that, I'd love to know your insights in being a married man and a father whilst being an entrepreneur and all that kind of chaos of starting new businesses, the 1,000 days, all that sort of stuff. I know it's quite common that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle to hold down the same relationship because of things we've spoken about being quite obsessive and not sort of fitting into the societal norms of working 9 to 5, having evenings and weekends off. How have you navigated that, and what tips would you give to entrepreneurs that are struggling to balance having a good, healthy relationship, being a great parent, and being successful in business?
You can only be successful as an entrepreneur if you've got a partner that supports you. End of.
Does that mean I'm fucked because I'm single?
No, but you might find a partner now that understands your journey. I found a partner, my beautiful wife Fleur, 22 years ago.
Wow.
We both went to Loughborough Sports University. She's from the beautiful rolling hills of Wales.
Right.
International sportswoman. She's met a promoter from London. She knew what my life was going to be like when she come on board, but 22 years together, married for 17 or 18 years, got a brilliant relationship. She understands me, she gets me, she supports me.
Is that the secret? That
yes.
There has to be that mutual understanding?
Yes, because as soon as you get a partner that doesn't support you or gets envy or gets jealous or who are you speaking to now on WhatsApp? Who's that girl coming through? Who's that bloke you're speaking to? Why are you not home? I've said dinner's at 6 o'clock. Why? I don't get any of that. She understands I've got to do what I've got to do to create a great lifestyle for us as a couple and us as a family. And she was there from the start. She was the one with me gambling in our family house on a festival in 2008 on the global financial crisis.
Wow.
You know, so...
What was that like? How was your relationship then, I guess?
That was 2008. We met in 2003 in London. We moved down to Bournemouth in 2005. In 2008, I was coming out of the... 2008, I was coming out of the nightclub world because I identified that I could see the nightclub world going in a different direction. I was like, right, I need to think of something, and thought of creating a sport and music festival. No one had ever done that before. And I was all in, thinking it was going to cost $100,000 to put on year one. The festival was last bank holiday in May 2008. Got to January, me thinking I'm going to be paying all the contractors post-festival because I've got no history. All the contractors wanted money up front. So we'd run out of the $100,000, and it was literally in a global financial crisis when the world was collapsing. And it was the only option we had was to lose the $100,000 deposit we put down and giving people, or go for it. And it was literally a sit down with Fleur. And at the time she was working at JP Morgan down here, and it was like the only option we got now is to remortgage the house, gamble the house on putting on a party in a field for this idea that I had.
You see, most people would stop there.
Most people would stop there.
But not you.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. And at the time, you know, what my wife went through, Fleur, when we sat down and said, listen, we need to take money out of our house and gamble the house. And you got to remember back then, you know, and that first year cost $300,000 to put a party on in a field. And you got to remember, people weren't buying online. There was no social media. People weren't putting their credit card and typing their details into a computer and saying, yeah, I'm going to buy 25 tickets or 10 tickets or 2 tickets. So you build this festival hoping people are going to turn up, hoping it's not raining.
Wait, how was the buying? I can't even think how... So what checks? Paying cash?
Yeah, cash on the door. And it was teams. It was Bournemouth 7, so it was a rugby and music, a sport and music festival, and it was based on rugby through my rugby playing days back at Wasps Academy and Leicester Tigers Academy, and then Loughborough Sports University. So I was well connected in the rugby world, and I knew how to promote because of the 10 years of promoting in nightclubs. But putting a festival on I didn't have a clue what I was doing. You're hiring 67 acres of land. You're building a mini town with marquees, toilets, showers, fencing, security, police, councils, fire. The list went on and on. I was like, with no staff. So my poor Fleur was like, okay, if you think you're going to do this, let's go for it.
Wow. So she backed you
She backed me, bless her.
reluctantly.
No, she put it this way. I don't know if she'll be listening to this because she stays out of all the limelight and everything, but she was crying in bed 5 nights a week for probably 4 months leading up to that.
Man.
Yeah.
But it paid off.
Well, we're here now, coming into year 19.
Yeah.
Still privately owned. No investment, no bank loans, no venture capital, no angels. Building it from scratch to it being a 30,000 people festival with 400 plus competing teams coming from all parts of the UK and flying in from different countries. 100 DJs, headliners, TV crews, Sky Sports, BBC, 12 festival arenas, VIP tents, VVIP market. Yeah.
How would you feel like saying that? Like knowing you've done that from that point of gambling your house, the family home, to being able to tell us that. How does that feel?
I feel very proud. It can feel emotional as well because I know what we've gone through in the last 18 years because it's not easy putting on a festival. It's the biggest gamble business that I've ever come across or known anyone to be involved in. I see other promoters putting on music festivals. Ours was a sport and music festival, so no one had ever done that before, so we're the pioneers. Like we were the pioneers of the student nights back in 1998 to 2008. We're the pioneers of creating a sport and music festival. I know what went into that. For those first 5 years, I was obsessed. 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, had to be. Your house is on the line, not just for year 1, for year 2, for year 3, for year 4, for year 5, till you break the back of it. You're trying to grow a business, you're trying to recruit staff, you're trying to create a culture within your team. You're trying to build a team around you like a rugby team. You're trying to get your right fullback there. He's the visionary. You're trying to get the grafters there. You're trying to get them. You're building a team around you. You're also hiring. You're also creating offices. You've also got overhead. You've got bills to pay. You're trying to work it all out as you go along. I didn't have a mentor to go to.
Nobody.
No, nobody. Lots of people that I know. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on that? You know, I'm well connected, as you know. So it's kind of, I was picking up the phone, asking someone, what are your thoughts on that? And I'm very good at being curious. Again, going back to a kid, asking loads of questions as a kid. I'm still doing the same as an adult today in any business that I go into.
What was that journey in terms of profitability? Because I co-produced 2 tribute act festivals.
Yes.
And I know people saying, is it something like 6 or 7 years till you break even?
Yep.
It was like, how was that for you when you're, investing all that kind of money? Because that was a much bigger scale than we had, about 3,500-4,000 people at ours. Yeah. Not to the scale of yours. What was that journey from a profitability standpoint?
Well, year 1 of that 300 grand, we made £1,000 profit.
But you made a profit.
Made a profit. But when you're that age, you're thinking, geez, just a grand?
Yeah, of course.
I was earning way more when I was in the nightclubs. I was earning that without even, without all the risk, without all the upfront money. Because the nightclubs, you've got to remember, I'd go in and take the door money, the club would take the bar money. My risk was probably £300, £500 max at £3 a head for people to go in there. I used to break even on 200 people.
Right.
And I'd have 2,000 people in there paying £3 a head.
Wow.
Do you get me?
In your 20s as well.
In your 20s.
Yeah.
And at a peak, I had 12 nightclubs from Manchester, Birmingham, Leicester, Coventry, Exeter, Brighton, Bournemouth, 2 in London. Do you know what I mean? So it was a very, very lucrative business.
And then you do all this
but
for
then
a grand.
you do all of that for a grand. You're like, what? And you gambled your family house. But I knew I was building something.
Yeah.
I was building something. I was building something to build a moat around the business. You know, not many businesses get past year 10, by the way. We're coming into year 19. So, and I was all about brand. You know, businesses come and go, but brands can stay. And I was all about brand from a young kid, from creating my first proper brand as an adult with the Bubble Love brand or the Pop Your Cherry brands of the student nights. You know, I you know the Pasha logo with the cherries. I replicated that and tweaked it slightly, and that's what I used as my nightclub brand for all those years.
Right, okay.
And I would have the Bubble Love brand, another brand which would be the Big Heart. So I was good at creating brands, and then that was in my 20s, and I got into my early 30s, I was creating the brand of Bournemouth Sevens, but then within creating a brand of Bournemouth Sevens, I also had Warner Brothers chase me on a court case for using their Superman logo, which I slightly tweaked to create a Bournemouth Sevens logo, but there's There's a whole story in that as well. So
Did they sue or?
I got to put it this way: I knew what I was doing. I knew I was close to the bone.
Okay.
And I thought, do you know what? People recognise the Superman brand everywhere. If I could create that to this new business, Bournemouth Sevens brand, and change the S for the Superman into a Sevens, but create everything around it that looked like it. And the word got out there very quickly, and also I got a lawyer's letter very quickly from Warner Brothers when I turned up one day, and there was a big heavy letter there when I came back, and it had a big stamp in the corner, Warner Brothers, with that sort of melted wax.
Proper old school.
Old school. And as I opened it, it was heavy, and I was like, oh no. I said, Fleur, do you know what? Here we go. And I opened it, I was like, geez, oh no. So that was a whole new story, but they were very good, to be fair, and I just acted naive and apologised and went back and forth. They told me to burn the hundreds of thousands of flyers and posters. You know, this was before social media, when we went into the festival world. So, yeah, there's been many a times like that, but I was ballsy. I was ballsy as a kid. I was ballsy in my 20s.
I see that.
I was probably ballsy in my 30s. You calm down.
If I ask for
ask people around me, probably say I'm fairly ballsy. But yeah, you had to do what you had to do, and that was all sorted out very quickly. But afterwards, when it was sorted, that lawyer was like, I said, how did you know that? He said to me, you must be a bloody good promoter, because all the because they get employed just to watch out for people who are
to find
using their stuff or whatever. So he said, you were a bloody good promoter for us to find that out, considering you use flyers and posters. So, year one was £1,000. Then you're trying to constantly improve your brand and improve the experience of that festival. So next year it costs 450 grand to put on. So you've got to get more people through the doors to pay to get that 450 grand. The next year it's 700 grand to put on, and it goes up and up. And today it's in the multi-millions to put on the festival. But we've got a great show. We've got a great brand. We put on a great product, and we create a wonderful experience for people from the moment you walk in to the 3 days you're there camping and glamping to the moment you leave. You know, we've got sports of rugby, netball, hockey, dodgeball, volleyball, CrossFit, women's football, women's rugby, it's a good vibe.
This episode is sponsored by Laura Robson and Back Pocket Office. Now let me tell you about this one. Laura is somebody you need in your life. I have got her in my life, and all I can say about her is I don't know how I'd live without her. And it's true. If you're anything like me, you will hate tech. You'll be great at launching and creating the marketing material and delivering on the actual product that you're selling. But when it comes to the back end, making sure it's all automated and it all works, I just can't be bothered. And if you're the same, Laura is the solution. Laura is a systems strategist, and she's also a certified launch and funnel specialist. And if you are a service provider, if you're a coach, consultant, any kind of online business that provides some kind of online service, then Laura is there to help sort out all your funnels and systems for you. With over 14 years experience, she's somebody who's going to get you solutions quick. She's easy to speak to, very approachable, and just really friendly and nice, basically. So if you are ready to get your systems and your funnels all sorted for you and work with one of the best in the business, go check out backpocketoffice.co.uk and connect with Laura on socials. The links are literally right below this episode in the show notes. Go click it, and I mean this. Go and do it now. You will not regret it. So I want to selfishly get some free coaching from you now, in the hope that it'll be useful for other people. So 48 hours ago, we finished our 5th business event. They've been one-day events up until this point, multiple speakers, networking opportunities, and that was our best event. It's gone really, really well. Holding it in the north, in the Hilton Hotel, holds about 160 people. We've just announced we're doing it next year. It's going to be our first 2-day event. We're going to a bigger venue, and obviously as you go bigger, there's new challenges. What would your advice be at this stage right now as we go to a whole new level of things to be mindful of, things that I need to do, things that I need to know?
I always work, and I always have done since a kid, and I always have to now. Make sure you break even, and everything is a bonus.
Okay.
And that's been my mindset all my life. Because if you go into a business, you'll go, okay, 2 days, 2 sets of overheads, the rent would be double bubble now. I'd be looking, how many people do I need to break even? Once I break even, that's all a bonus. Don't start trying to look at, if I pack it out with, was it hold?
500.
500. If I pack it out 500 people times £150 head, that'll bring us 75 grand. If I hit, it never does. It never ever does.
Yeah.
Get your break even, take the pressure off yourself, and push yourself to break even. And after that, happy days. And then you're just changing your mindset. You're changing your mindset because you may well do. You might pack out 500 people, and I wish you all the best. But it never falls like that. It takes time to build, to be packing out places.
And I've really felt that. You can feel like you've got it right, you've got a great buzz, and then you think the next one will just sell.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And then it doesn't.
It
And then you go, what am I doing wrong?
The moment you sit on your hands, think you've all got it. You know,
Yeah.
even now, even what I do now, every year at the festival, I don't sit on my hands and go, we've smashed another 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, another £500,000 worth of sponsors. Everyone's drinking on the bars and boozing and No, I'm on it. How can we improve it? How can we tweak? What can we learn? All I want is people's feedback. I don't want all the positive feedback. I want feedback, true feedback. How can I improve that festival each year?
Yeah.
All the positive feedback is lovely, but it's
Yeah.
I don't mean that. People write lovely things all the time.
Yeah.
It's only when people write something like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, is that right? Oh God, the toilets were a bit messy from 9 till 11 in the evening, or there wasn't enough. Where are the water fountains? What? Right, I'm on it. It's the minute detail. Attention to detail is so important to me.
It's
I'm
that
big
feedback
I'm big
that's
picture,
useful. Yeah.
but the feedback so important to me to improve it on every single angle. So that person will come back and go, they did tweak that. They have improved that. They have improved that. They'll go away and tell 20 people. 20 people will tell 20 people. That's 400 people. Before you know it's thousands of people.
That was literally our last event was February, and the feedback we got was there were too many speakers, not enough networking time, and all these things, and it hurt. I was like, because you put so much into it, and you want to create that experience. But it was the best feedback that we could get because we made those tweaks, and everybody I'm speaking to, obviously it's only been 48 hours, so there's still time, but everybody is saying, I've come to all 5 events, that was by far the best. And it's because of that. And that then tells me we've kind of outgrown that level, and now we've got to go bigger, learn from potential mistakes again.
What was the capacity of the first one?
They've all been around 150 to 200 venues.
Okay. So you're going from 150 to 500.
Correct.
Can you make that room look smaller if you need to?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
We're going to need to.
Well, you might not.
But
you might get 500.
Yeah.
But it's
Makes
always
sense.
important that you create the atmosphere and you create the experience that people go, that was compact. I got great value from it. I've met some new contacts. People, I can't stand the word networking. I've never networked. If you create a cool brand, your network comes to you.
Yeah.
If you're creating a cool brand there and it's not seen as networking, it's seen as this is a really cool vibe where people, like-minded people around. I don't want people there going, here's my business card, and I wear a suit and I wear a shirt and tie. No. Take that facade away from them, because everyone can dress up in a suit and act like someone else. Get people to come in their normal gear, get chatting, introduce people.
I'll show you the pictures after.
Yeah.
It's literally
Brilliant.
that. It's a vibe. And
Brilliant.
That's one of the biggest things we've heard people saying is it just feels like there's a room full of good energy, a lot of love, and just good people.
Yeah.
And that is so important, I think. Yeah. Let's go on to the podcast then, because your podcast, I don't know exactly how many views and downloads, but it's in the multiple millions, right? It's
100 million views in the last 6 months,
Well, congratulations. That's incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of people aspire to do that. What's your advice around podcasting? Because a lot of people will start a podcast, they'll find it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, it can be a lot of money if they're wanting to do it really, really well, and they really struggle to make a return. What would you say to them?
I would say, from my experience, having a podcast is the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Wow, okay.
Number one. But it comes at a cost. It's very time consuming. It's expensive if you want to do it properly. But you need to know why you're doing it. If you're doing it because you've got a niche, you don't need lots and lots of followers. You don't need lots of views. You don't need all of that. If you've got a niche, if you are a niche of women's entrepreneurship or whatever it may be, you don't need millions of views. You need just the right eyeballs and the right women believing in what you do and creating that community. If you want to do podcasting really well, I think it's going to cost someone 25, 30 grand a year. You won't see a return on that if you're wanting AdSense from YouTube or being paid by Spotify and Apple for the amount of listens you have. For the first 3 years, the first 1,000 days, I didn't earn a penny. And for the first 2 years, our podcast was only on Apple and Spotify. We didn't go onto YouTube.
Just audio.
Just audio only. Did I look at the views? Didn't pay attention whatsoever. Because I go back to my 1,000-day rule. I didn't care about the views. I was just making sure that I'm going to create quality content once a week, on time, every Wednesday, 6 a.m. every morning, 6 p.m. Now we're moving on to YouTube, 6 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Did you ever miss a week?
Nope.
Never.
Never.
To this day.
We've got 350 episodes. Not missed. Bang, 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 bang.
That's a big commitment.
Yeah. Because I know what it takes to build a business. So I was going into this new thing called podcasting in 2020 in the pandemic. I didn't have a Scooby what a podcast was. Never listened to one, never understood one, it was very new to most people in 2020. It's only the Americans who are way ahead of the time, which they normally are on quite a lot of stuff. They were way ahead of the game. It's only when we came in 2020, everyone started to create a podcast. Stephen created his podcast in 2020. Look at the size of that now, Diary CEO. People were creating them. But I've seen a lot of people start a podcast and then stop a podcast. One, they realise, they think they're being sold by podcast gurus that you can earn a load of money from podcasts.
Yeah.
That ain't true. But do a podcast if you want to do a podcast, if you are passionate about something you absolutely love and want to talk about. When I launched our podcast, it started off called the Eventful Entrepreneur for the first 2 years. And then we went onto YouTube, and I was like, do you know what? The people I'm getting on here, we can open up so many doors from all the contacts I've got. So we changed it to the Eventful Lives podcast, and then it just flew from there. One, people couldn't spell the word entrepreneur. People would go into Google, Eventful, it was a word for people couldn't find that, so no one could really find. So then we went to Eventful Lives, and then we went on video content. And then when you go on video content, you can do all the clips on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and all of a sudden your face and your brand is going from here, it's being turbocharged. And then people watch you on YouTube on long form, and people like you as a host, people like the guests, people like the conversation.
Yeah.
It flows well. I'm never afraid to ask the questions most people are afraid to ask. I give people lots of space to talk. I listen intensely. And it seems to have worked.
And is your podcast now directly profitable, or is it more?
Yes.
So where does the revenue streams come from directly for the podcast?
YouTube.
Yeah.
They pay you monthly. Apple and Spotify sponsors pay you monthly, and then your individual sponsors you get on board to sponsor you as a person. Whether you're wearing, for us, we're lucky we've got a brand called Through Dark, which is a special forces brand which has grown exponentially over the last 5 years. Two lads are in the special boat service, created an unbelievable brand, and Foxy's the main face of it. So yeah, they're the main revenue streams. But the knock-on effect of having a podcast, people want you to go and do talk at their businesses about entrepreneurship or being a startup founder. People want to hire you as a non-executive director, where you do once a month for certain companies. People want you on their podcast. You can write a book. You can go to live events. You can be paid to do live events, and you can be paid to host. There's so many angles. It's not just having a podcast. It's all the knock-on effects of being a podcast host.
But for you, with the success you'd already had, was that not on your radar anyway, those opportunities? Is it literally since you got the personal branding and did the podcast that's come?
Yeah, but before having a podcast, I was known in my 20s. I was the student nightclub promoter who was smashing it around the UK when there was no social media. Then you become a festival owner. Oh, he's the festival owner. You know, Dodge, he owns Bournemouth Sevens Festival down on the south coast. But you're still not hitting the masses. You know, you're hitting the masses. You go on YouTube, you're hitting millions of people every week. 1 million people might see my face every week on YouTube or on this or something. All of a sudden, and I didn't know this, all of a sudden, you're kind of put on a... I guess it's like being an author back in the day. If you wrote a book, you'd be like, oh my God, he's written a book or she's written a book. Now as a podcast host, it's kind of like that same feeling, I guess. But being an author of a book, you're not really seen anywhere. being a podcast host, you're seeing on all the channels that show video.
I just realised the time we've run over massively because
Okay, no
I was
problem.
shit scared to not look at you. I just stared at you the whole time.
You hosted very well,
Need to
by
blink.
the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, hosted really well. Nice questions. It just flowed easy. And, you know, I don't do a lot of podcasts, as you know. So for you to make the effort to come down from Bradford to Bournemouth
Yeah, it's a bit of a trek.
on a 5 hour to
Yeah.
do this and then shoot back up to come to... Massive respect to you. And I really
Appreciate
do
that.
appreciate your time.
Let's just wrap up with some of the questions that I ask all guests.
Go on then.
So, first one is, over your year's experience, what is some of the worst advice you've received? Might have been well-intentioned.
The worst advice... The worst advice, maybe if you say you're going to go and do something and people around you go, no, don't go and do it. I don't know if that's advice.
You mean kind of like when they're projecting?
They're projecting their own stuff maybe on you. They don't want you to go and do it. Whether that's advice or not, I've always been a person I've done what I wanted to do. And I always will be. And if you believe in yourself, only you can... You know, I don't have the word failure in my vocabulary. You know, I'm constantly tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. Things didn't work, you tweak. But that's building a business. Failure is only when you stop a business and have to fold your business because you're in debt or you can't make the business work. Maybe that's failure. But anyone out there, just keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. There's going to be so many tough days, you know, and there's going to be plenty of time when you don't have life, work balance.
Yeah.
And so you shouldn't have work-life balance if you're building a business, to have the freedom to have what you want when you want, get up when you want, don't have an alarm.
Because that's not balance.
No.
That's extreme.
Yeah.
All right, flip side, some of the best advice that you still live by today.
Oh. Curiosity is your superpower.
And that's a theme that I just hear time and time again speaking to you.
Curiosity is your superpower, Matt. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I was always taught as a kid, ask questions. I was always taught to go and speak to strangers. That might sound weird. You're always taught not to speak to strangers.
Yeah.
You're always taught not to disrupt in the classroom. Now it's a cool thing to be a disruptor and to be curious and to ask questions. You know, be that person when you're queuing up for a bite to eat and someone's behind you, have a chat with them. Be that person in front of you, have a chat with them. You don't know where that conversation is going to go. Have a great conversation with them. Oh my God, Quality, you know him, do you? I tell you, give us your number, I'll put you in contact. So I know someone. Be that person who's helpful to people. You know, I've built, you know, from a young kid, I've got 9,000 individual people on my phone who I can pick up the phone to.
Wow.
It's a lot of people because I've never missed a contact. But back in the day when you've got the old Nokia 72-100 or 7210, you had to take those numbers out of your phone, put them in a black book.
Yeah, that was
pages
work.
and pages and pages. And when you get a new phone, you've got to then type them back in. That's 7 days' work for me back then.
Wow.
Whatever it took, I'll just repeat, go back in, and I thought, this is a nightmare, but I never missed a contact.
Because you valued it and you knew the importance.
Hugely valued it. And look at it now, like, there's no one I can't speak to in the UK. If I'm not one phone call away from someone, I'm definitely 2 phone calls away from someone.
What about the Prime Minister?
I don't want to speak to him. He can be a long way away from me.
He's blocked.
He's blocked. Yeah, that's a proper block. No, no, let's not get into that. I never talk politics or religion on my podcast.
Okay.
I stay away from that. But again, anyone listening out there, chat to people. Doors open.
Yeah.
Have that mindset, optimistic mindset. Things can happen. You know, when you get someone's number, you can help someone with that number. That number may come about 6 months' time. You go, I met that bloke I was having a bite to eat at that pizza place, coming out of chat, so I took his number, and all of a sudden you've got a contact that can open a door that could save you a year or 2 years because he knows someone who knows someone.
Yeah.
That's all business is.
I've said it for years. It's first and foremost, business is just about relationships.
Yep.
And that comes from, because a lot of my background was, you know, when I was a performer working in a band, and our manager, it was just all about profit and commission, and he was just a bit of an arsehole, basically. And that experience, from when I started my first company at 19, I was like, I'm always going to put people first above profit. And I've just always had that belief that if you're just doing the right thing,
100% karma.
money
It
will
follows
come
you.
round.
It follows. All I've got is my reputation. Pull everything away from me. Pull the businesses, pull the niceties, and pull all the stuff. What are you left with? Your reputation. Am I happy with my reputation and trust? 100%.
Yeah.
I'm not due anyone a penny. I pay everyone. I'm not due everyone will go, He's a good guy to
Yeah, that's
do business
huge.
with.
Yeah.
He's a nice bloke. He's fair.
Yeah.
He understands business. He's fair. He works something out with you.
Okay, next question. As I spoke about earlier, the show is basically the answer to the stuff we didn't get at school. So for me, I think most people, when they look at what they want out of life, they want to be happy, they want to be healthy, and they want to feel fulfilled in what they do. So if you was to give 3 pieces of advice to the listener so that they can live a happy life, healthy, and a fulfilled life, what would you say?
Fulfilled life is doing something that you enjoyed. For me, fulfilled life is doing something you enjoy as a kid that you can do as an adult and earn money from. That's a lovely feeling.
And you've managed it, right?
Well, I'm in the sports world, I'm in the music world, I'm in the media world and sports. Like, that's my dream. That's my dream.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Happy, healthy.
Healthy is all I can go from for me is lifting weights and having saunas. They're my things. If I can hit weights, if I can smash the weight session and go and have a sauna, I feel good for the day.
Yeah.
And when I feel good, it breeds goodness around me.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can go into the gym and before you get there, you can feel something's bugging you. Go and get that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Every day I love dopamine. That's my thing. Give me dopamine. Give me dopamine. Give me endorphin. Give me dopamine. That's what I want. You know, people can sometimes say, what dopamine? I love it. I buzz off it. You know, I don't have caffeine. I don't have caffeine in my life.
I don't either.
You know, I like dopamine. So if I can lift and feel good and feel healthy and have a sauna and have a swim afterwards, I'm feeling good and I'm feeling good for the day and I'm good to be around.
I get some of my best ideas when I'm in the gym.
100%. I get them when I'm driving,
Yeah.
gym, shower, walk.
It's taking that time for you, right?
What was the third one?
Happy.
Well, you get those two right. That brings
You'd be pretty
happiness,
good.
right? That brings happiness. And if I've got a healthy little family around me,
Yeah.
and I've got a great bunch of mates from young age. You know, I'm not like a new mate person. I've got anyone around me. I've got young mates who I've stuck feet. We're all feet on the ground.
Yeah, brilliant.
You know, and that brings my happiness. And yeah, I guess as you get older as well, you reflect more. I've certainly reflect more in my 40s than I ever have done. The pandemic stopped me to reflect, which was lovely. But as you get older, you just want less. And less is more.
Beautiful, Dodge. This has been amazing. If people haven't heard of you before, where can they find the podcast? Where can they connect with you?
Just type in Dodge into all of the YouTube, Instagram. It'll pop up, dodgewoodall.com.
Yep.
Anywhere like that. Yeah.
We'll get you.
Yeah.
Okay, final question.
Yeah, mate.
For you personally, what is your definition of success?
Definition of success for me is freedom. Being free to do whatever you want, when you want, and how you want to do it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure, mate. I've enjoyed this.
It's great. Good.
Yeah, you're a good man,
Good
and
meeting.
like I said before, you're a good host.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, keep at it.
Cheers, Dodge.
Cheers, Matt.
Thank you.
Nice one, mate. Take
Great.
care. Cheers.
Thank you.